These clips are kind of pointless. I just felt like they made me look strong. You may be wondering why tearing apart this old, gross potting table has anything to do with today's project. In my never-ending quest to be the world's coolest auntie, I have stepped outside the realm of my own knowledge and understanding to build Pip a monster truck arena. So to create the bones of our monster truck arena, I basically just went through our recycling and salvaged whatever I thought looked interesting. We've got some cans, that's an oat milk container right there. And I'm basically just reusing what I can, and it's all going to get covered up anyway in the end, so it doesn't really matter. As a kid, whenever I wanted to, say, add an extension to my Barbie doll house or something like that, I always went to our recycling bin first in order to find the materials to use. It's simple, it's accessible, and best of all, it's free. Here I'm creating a space for this ramp with these two pieces of wood. I wanted to make sure that there was room that I could stick these ramps in and out of the monster truck arena. The ramp is actually the packaging that our Venetian blinds came in, and since we got it, Pip has been using them as roads and ramps for his cars in the backyard. So including a space for it felt important. This is about the moment where Tavis came in with a much better plan. Rather than blue taping everything into place, he brought me this very fine mesh that I was able to cut and mold and then use the staple gun to hold in place. And then I'm creating a tunnel there with a water bottle, and now I'm going around the outside edges with the mesh wire to create more of a raised area. And here I am putting down the first layer of spray foam, which is going to make up our rock texture. I grossly underestimated the amount of spray foam I was going to need, which is why I suddenly decided to fill up all the empty holes and spaces with cardboard. And yes, I am aware that it looks like I am just covering this whole thing in whipped cream. It's gonna get worse before it gets better. To properly illustrate what I meant when I said that I grossly underestimated the amount of foam I was going to need, I bought 1 can of foam originally and ended up needing 5 to complete this entire thing. But underestimating the amount of materials I would need was kind of a theme for this entire project. Putting down the foam was a lot of fun. This is expanding foam that you can buy at any hardware store for sealing up cracks and pipes in your home. And I basically just threw it down anywhere that I knew there wasn't going to be a road and watched it grow into this really awesome boulder texture. And then I made a mistake that we're all just going to ignore and pretend didn't happen. Once I was ready to admit that I'd made that mistake, Tavis convinced me that paper mache was the way to go for the rest of this project. Instead of making my own paste, I'm a big fan of using wallpaper paste for paper mache projects. I find that it hardens up better, and I like that it's ready to go right out of the tub. Tavis and I paper mache'd all of the ramps and roads to build them up and to give them a little more structure. I also took the paper and wadded it up into the holes and smoothed it into the road to give it more of a natural transition between road and rock. Okay, I'm actually doing this right this time. To create a proper road-like texture, I covered everything that we had paper mache'd with spackle. We figured that it would add to the structural integrity while also helping it withstand being outdoors. While laying the spackle down, I didn't smooth it out at all and tried to keep it as rough and jagged looking as possible to give it more of an interesting texture. Then once the roads were done, I went in and covered as much of the foam as I could with the spackle as well, so that it looked more like rock and less like a giant pile of meringue. I know it's a little tricky to see, but what I'm doing here is sprinkling all of the wet spackle with playground sand. And this was just something I decided to do to give it another texture. And now the fun part. Here it goes from looking like a Great British Bake Off disaster into an actual road. Tavis is spraying the roads with a more reddish brown, and I am coming in with a darker brown across the rocks. Painting this project was such a dramatic transformation, and it was really exciting to see it all come together and look like a proper mud rock thing. This is easily one of the coolest looking things I have ever made, so I'm really proud with how this project turned out. Thanks for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe.
After watching Sabrina. Uh-oh. I put with Martin, but I can Martin try to do it to make us sound like wolves. It squeezed again. It cried. Cause I love to play with it. You good job, Titi.